Would the various faiths of mankind accommodate a visitation from extraterrestrial beings, or shake them to the core? Working out these questions might be called exotheology or astrotheology, terms defined by Ted Peters, professor in theology at Pacific Lutheran Theological Seminary, also whose research paper is the primary source for this presentation. He refers to it as speculation on the theological significance of extraterrestrial life. So what issues might the discovery of intelligent aliens raise? It begins with questioning just how unique we are, an issue shared by theologians and scientists for as long as they have existed. In his book, Are We Alone?, Paul Davies explains the three principles of possibilities regarding that question. First, the principle of nature's uniformity. It claims that the physical processes seen on Earth can be found throughout the universe. This means that the same process that produced life here produced life everywhere. Second, the principle of plenitude. It affirms that everything that is possible will be realized as long as there are no impediments to life forming. Life will form. Or as Arthur Lovejoy, the American philosopher who coined the term, puts it, no genuine possibility of being can be unfulfilled. Just as we've learned in class that the environments that have caused life to thrive on Earth are commonly seen throughout the universe, be it the metal-rich singular sun or the presence of liquid water, which is further supported by Murphy's Law. Whatever can happen will happen. Since the possibility of favorable conditions for life in the infinitude of the universe seems almost definite. Or, as scientist Carl Sagan puts it, the origin of life on suitable planets seems built into the chemistry of the universe. The third, the mediocrity principle. It claims that there's nothing special about Earth's status or position in the universe. It is different from the second principle because it ensures the existence of multiple worlds instead of just playing with the possibility of them. This could present the greatest challenge to the Abrahamic religions, which teach that human beings are purposefully created by God and occupy a privileged position in relation to other creatures. Though historically, religions haven't dealt well with groundbreaking scientific discoveries, an example of this is mentioned in the text, Galileo's heliocentric solar system, which went against the Church's idea of Earth being the center of God's universe and that we were special, finding him vehemently suspect of heresy, imprisoning him for life, only recently forgiving him. But how could a believer reconcile this with their faith that humans are the crowning achievement of God's creation? How could humans believe that they were the apple of their Creator's eye if their planet was just one of the billions? Anthropological studies show that the discovery of intelligent aliens could have a similar Copernican effect on humans' self-understanding. Would the discovery make believers feel insignificant and as a consequence cause people to question their faith? And that is the reason why this topic is important and connects back to the class and its materials. According to the study by Ted Peters, participants were asked to rate various statements based on how much they agree or disagree with them. One of them claimed, "Official confirmation of the discovery of intelligent beings living on another planet would undercut my beliefs," where majority of the people, regardless of religious or unreligious beliefs, disagreed. The same trend was seen in the next statement. "Official confirmation of ET life on another planet would undercut the beliefs of my particular religious tradition." An interesting build on this was seen in the next statement. "Even though my religious or non-religious viewpoint would remain unaffected, contact with extraterrestrials would undercut traditional beliefs and the world's religions would face a crisis," where majority of unreligious people strongly agreed, whereas everyone else was split equally, thus leading to an idea highlighted in the study. It could be the case that an individual unreligious believer is slightly more worried about someone else's beliefs than his or her own. According to Talmud, the central text and holy book of Judaism, God spends his night flying throughout 18,000 worlds, and Islam insists that all things in the heavens and on earth are Allah's. The same texts are unequivocally clear that human beings are special to God, who seems fairly able to multitask. Just as a parent's love for a child is not compromised because the child has a brother or a sister. If you believe in a God, why assume he is only able to love a few of his star children? On the other hand, the same study reveals that for a visitation from every other civilization, there would be a discussion among the religious communities regarding the presence of multiple gods, the gods of aliens. Are we to suppose that every world in the boundless creation had their own similar visitations from God? Well, if that's true, Payne concludes, then that person would have nothing else to do than to travel from world to world in an endless succession of deaths, with scarcely a momentary interval of life. Unless, of course, it is just planet Earth that God from various religions has visited, because humans are the only sinners and thus needed saving, and extraterrestrial life is far evolved both spiritually and morally. According to another study linked at the end, many religions believe this is untrue if an idea of multiple worlds was to be accepted, therefore leading to the claim that even aliens might have religious leaders. However, according to the same study, biological evolution does not look like technological progress, nor do spiritual or moral achievement. Realism here requires a recognition of human sin and the role of violence in the natural world. Based upon human history, we have a strong precedent for choosing aggression, violence, and war. Neither terrestrial science nor extraterrestrial science can save us. If salvation is to come, the theologian must argue it will come as a gift of God's grace. Or, as Carl Sagan optimistically sums it up, meanwhile, elsewhere there are an infinite number of other universes, each with its own God dreaming the cosmic dream. It is said that men may not be the dreams of gods, but rather that the gods are the dreams of men. So far, we have learned that intelligence is the ability to model the world, including the organism's own self. Davies builds upon this definition as he mentions spiritual thinking and the fact that it requires an animal to be both self-conscious and to have reached a level of intelligence where it can assess the consequences of its actions. On Earth, this kind of cognition is between 5 and 7 million years old, because this is when the first ape-like bipedal stood up for the first time and looked up at the stars, never to hunch again, starting an entirely new revolution for life with those baby steps. If life exists elsewhere, then it is very unlikely that it's at the exact same stage in its evolution as we are. And given the immense timeline of the existence of the universe, it's likely that at least some of this life is older and therefore farther along in the revolution than we are. Therefore, he concludes, we could expect to be among the least spiritually advanced creatures in the universe. If Davies is right, then contrary to popular works of literature like The Sparrow, humans won't be the ones teaching their star siblings about God. We will be the ones unlearning and relearning religions from them. O'Meara hypothesizes if we were to imagine the first neo-Zionist intergalactic meet, where humans are accompanied by aliens with tentacles and grey spots and want to be Jewish, do we say no, you're not entirely acceptable? Similarly, another discussion includes if aliens were to choose a religion that follows daily rituals, such as Judaism or Islam, how are they to follow it? Would they have to pray 5 times a day? How much is a day if the planet revolves differently? How does the participant face Mecca considering the movement of the planet? Would they have to be baptized? Receive communion? It's ahistorical to assume that religion is too weak to survive in a world with aliens. That's because, as Peter points out, this claim underestimates the degree of adaptation that has already taken place. With few notable exceptions, creationism, violent fundamentalism, and gay marriage, religion has often been able to adapt without much fuss to various paradigm shifts it has encountered. Surely its reinventiveness, its adaptability, is a testament to the fact that there is something about religion that resonates with humans at a basic level. Certain aspects of religions will have to be reconsidered, but not totally abandoned, as O'Meara notes. If being and revelation and grace come to worlds other than earth, that modifies in a modest way Christian self-understanding and all religious self-understanding. However, he says, it is not a question of adding or subtracting, but of seeing what is basic in a new way. Many religions have always believed God names the stars. Is it really a stretch to believe God names the stars inhabitants too? And that they might possibly each have their own names for God? Or as O'Meara puts it, in a billion solar systems, the forms of love, created and uncreated, would not be limited. Realizations of divine life would not be in contradiction with each other or with creation.